This matchup, low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.
Welcome to Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. I'm Daniel Berk here with star reporter Bruce Pascoe, and we are here at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, where the Arizona Wildcats' season just came to an end against Wisconsin in the Elite Eight. And Bruce, it was a thrilling game, went to overtime, a one-point game, and this team feels disappointment in this building yet again. What do you take away from this game, and what are your major impressions from it?
You know, it played out a lot like I think everybody thought. It's just a matter of who was going to win, and they came down the final possession. It was a little bit odd the way it came down with the foul there, and then the reviewing the call on the out of bounds play with Wisconsin, and he just came up. But I would say this: Arizona had the ball in the hands of the guy they wanted to get it to, and it was Nick Johnson. And you know, Nick's hit a lot of shots for him all year, and you know, it didn't come through this time. He blamed himself for taking that shot a little bit too late. Should have taken it maybe one dribble earlier. Of course, ran out of time, and you know, but who knows if that would have happened anyway.
Let's talk about some details in this game. Late in overtime, Johnson's driving, clock ticking down. He's called for that offensive foul on Josh Gasser, which I think certainly is going to be what most Arizona fans remember from this game. You know, from your vantage point, what did you think of that call, and how big a role did that play in this game?
You know, I think technically on the replays, just it looked like it was a foul, but it's one of those situations where a lot of times those fouls don't get called or at all, especially late in the game. But if you're going by the book, you know, you could say it would be. And I think that's one reason why Arizona wasn't really, at least publicly, complaining about it. It's just, you know, it was just a really, really, really bad time for that to happen, obviously. And you know, it just, you know, I'm sure deep down they felt they shouldn't have been called in that situation, but you know, it's the way it goes.
So then after the offensive foul, Wisconsin goes to inbound, turn it over. It looked like it probably went off an Arizona player. They review it for what felt like an hour and a half, and then they give the ball back to Arizona. And like you said, they got the ball in the hands of the guy they wanted, Nick Johnson, but he kind of dribbles it out and doesn't get a shot up. What did you think of that last possession, and kind of how tough is that for a guy like Nick, who that could be the last play he ever has is in an Arizona uniform?
Yeah. Well, I wonder sometimes about the monitor thing too. I mean, they said they went through 14 different angles, and that's good and all, and they apparently got it right, but it just takes away from the flow of the game. They're sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting. Oh, okay, then 2-3 seconds and get off a shot, and then so you know, maybe Nick was a little bit out of his rhythm there, and at the same time, you know, you're playing against a really good defense, and they did a nice job, you know, with following him, and then they had, I think Jackson was up with his hand at the end there, and you know, it wasn't an easy shot for him, and he's hit some tough ones, but Wisconsin made it tough there for sure.
We're talking to Bruce Pascoe. This is the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. And Bruce, they finished 33-5, probably best team Sean Miller's ever had, best team in Arizona in a really long time, number 1 seed, Elite Eight. How is this season going to be viewed now that they finish a stop short of the Final Four?
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I think a lot of times fans, especially fans who, well, I don't know, but I think that there's so much emphasis on the Final Four that there's going to be some disappointment there, and people seem to think at Arizona it's almost to the point now if they don't get there, and now they haven't been there for 13 years, come on, when's it going to happen? But if you look at what this team really was, I think they met their expectations and maybe even exceeded them, especially if you consider where they were after they lost Brandon Ashley, and you know, Valentine's Day losing at ASU. They looked like, I didn't think they would have been here in the Elite Eight. I thought they looked like a first or second round lost team, you know, and so I think they had a pretty good season. They certainly won the Pac-12 and still ran away with it even without Ashley, and the way they kind of redefined themselves without Ashley, playing going deeper in the rotation, playing Gabe York, starting him, and then playing Aaron Gordon at the 4 and 5, where he's really super effective. You know, they actually became arguably just as good a team. But, you know, it'd be interesting to see. You never really know. What if Brandon Ashley was on the floor tonight? Maybe that helps them in the little. They were hurting on the rebounding in the first half. Maybe that makes a difference there. Maybe he does something against Kaminsky. Who knows? We'll never know. But it's the way it goes.
Speaking of Kaminsky, we were sitting next to each other, and we both were just marveling at this guy, the game that he had. I mean, maybe speak to his performance that he had in such a big game like this, and you know, were you surprised at how much trouble Arizona had stopping that guy?
Yeah, I think, I was a little bit surprised, but then again, I mean, he was really good outside, as you saw, and just, they were working screens, getting him open, and I think Caleb Tarczewski was having trouble fighting through that and getting out there on him, and he had a couple of really wide open looks as a result. And that's not necessarily Caleb Tarczewski's fault. He's 7 foot, and it's tough to move around that, so they had to take him out, and it was just it turned into a matchup nightmare. But Kaminsky had a terrific night, and I thought when I watched him against Baylor the other night, he was really good around the basket, and he hit a couple outside there, and I thought, man, he could be trouble, and he was even better tonight.
Bruce, we'll get you out of here on this, and you'll certainly have a lot of time to write about this. But at first blush, what do you expect this team to look like next year? And certainly with Gordon, Johnson, Hollis, Jefferson, Tarczewski, how many of these guys do you expect to jump? And what is this team going to look like next year? Just first blush.
Well, I think they should get. I think they're going to lose 2, maybe 3 guys. I think probably Nick Johnson and Aaron Gordon, you have to figure, are probably going to leave. But, you never know for sure. I mean, this time a year ago, we didn't know Grant Jarrett and Angela Chol were going to leave. It's just strange things. We didn't know Aaron Gordon was coming either. So strange things can happen in April. And so it's a much easier to tell at the end of April or into May what this team's going to look like. But, assuming they lose 2 to 3 guys, but with what they have coming in, they should be pretty talented. Just, again, they'll have Brandon Ashley back, assuming he gets healthy, and that'll be a big thing. I think Caleb Tarczewski probably sounds like he's leaning towards coming back. That bodes well, too. I think the biggest piece, though, they're going to miss really might be Nick Johnson and that sort of chemistry he brings. And he was a true leader for this team. And if he does leave, assuming he leaves, that's going to be really hard to replace. T.J. McConnell, of course, has shown a lot of that, and they'll be behind him. So that bodes well, too, that they have McConnell coming back to lead this team next year. But it's going to take a while, but they'll be good.
One thing we can confirm now is this guy hasn't slept since about early February. Another season, you just killed it, Bruce. So hopefully you get some rest now.
Well, thanks. But April is crazy too. But yeah, no. But that's all we do. You're like it with football. It's year round, and we're happy to do it.
All right, that's going to do it for the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. We'll talk to you soon.
Try this matchup. Low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.